Hi guys, it's me for the future. I don't know what happened, but the first clip for this video went missing. I have no idea where it went, so I'm adding this one before the start of the video. I want to let you know that this is a June wrap-up. I read 22 books this month. The first book that I read was Praised by Sara, Cate, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's amazing. You guys should definitely read it. It's an age gap employer romance, and you should definitely read it. The next book in this list is Throttled by Lauren Ashen. This is the first book in the Dirty Air series, and it's a new favorite of mine. 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely love this book. And basically in this book we follow Noah, who is a Formula 1 race car driver, and this girl Maya, who is the sister of his rival slash new teammate, also driving in Formula 1, and her brother goes to a new team, basically signs on with her, so she decides to spend the summer with him and just focus on herself and what she's going to do next with her life. So that's when she meets Noah, and they don't start in the best way, and they start to fight a lot and they hate each other, but they are also crazy attracted to one another. It's like sparks fly every time they are alone, but they also really fight it, so they start to be like frenemies, sort of banter situation. And then Noah realized that he actually has feelings for her, but he doesn't do a relationship, only does hookups, and she doesn't want to do only a hookup because she knows that she was going to fall in love with him because she already has. So she refuses to be with him, basically. So yeah, this was the best book ever. I mean, I really wasn't sure about picking this book up for the longest time, but after watching it on TikTok for a few days and reading some of the quotes, and I was like, what the hell, let's try it. It's like a brother-sister sort of thing, and I really love that trope. Also, there was a lot of singing around, and I love that stuff. And no, it's just, oh my god, it's just amazing. And he and Maya like perfect for one another. And I'm probably continue with the series, but I'm not in a rush, so I'm not sure when that will be, but I will keep you guys updated. Definitely check this book out. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was The Outpost, book number 4 on the Jameson Valley series by David Perry. And most of you know that I'm completely obsessed with David Perry for the past few months, I believe, and I can't get enough of her stories. So this book follows Sabrina and Beau, and we find out in the previous book that Sabrina has been working on this story to expose the mob in New York, and that sort of blew up in her face. Even though she succeeded in her story, they find out that she's a journalist and her name, and basically she needs to go into hiding until this blows over or until the cops has arrested everyone involved. So Beau offers to take her to the Outpost hidden in the mountains because she can't stay with her best friend Felicity because she will put her in danger. So all her parents, because it's not safe, so and they don't want to leave her alone because there is a chance that she will get killed. So the safest place for her is with Beau, so they go together to this outpost, and the plan is to stay for a few months and then they will go from there. And from the minute they meet, Sabrina and Beau are crazy attracted to one another, but they know this can lead anywhere because Sabrina is a city girl and she's super into expensive stuff and all this she's a high maintenance girl, basically. And he was like, I want to go in the mountains, I want to spend time with my family and stay in Montana. So even if they were to get together, it wouldn't work because they will live in different states. So they immediately immediately acknowledge this, and he's like, I know we're crazy attracted to one another, there's something there, but let's not do this because it would get complicated and we both know it won't work. So yeah, they have their talk, and stuff happens, and then they get together. They decide for as long as it lasts, let's just go with it, and then we go our separate ways. So yeah, they do this, but you secretly want to make her fall in love with nature and him mostly, so they won't get separated, or if she decides to stay with him in Montana. So yeah, this book was amazing, 5 out of 5 stars, just like the rest of the James and Ball series, but this one was really amazing. I love how Blue could see behind all these masks that Sabrina is wearing, and see how she really is feeling deep down for all the stuff that happens, because she had a traumatic experience, and now that she's basically alone in the cabin in the woods, she has nothing but time and space to think and relive all the stuff that happens. And basically she's feeling really guilty because she was careless, and she was like, for what? For one story, for one article, for me to be famous, it wasn't worth all that, because basically her life blew up, and she doesn't know what comes next. Even if she goes with this protection, she has to say goodbye to her family, friends, and even herself. So she's not ready for that. So we have all the stuff going on, and we also see a few other characters from Jameson Valley make an appearance, and it's really amazing. And I live for this series. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. David Perry is amazing. Next book I read was The Bitterroot, book number 5 in the Jameson Valley series by David Perry. And this book we finally have Macy's story, and we meet Macy in book 1. She is Gigi's best friend, and they went into something traumatic together. And here we see Macy slowly pulling herself back together and continue with her life, not without an emotional toll on her. And that's when Hunter comes in. He's crazy good looking, and he wants to stay at the hotel she owns for a month, I believe, until his house gets fixed up in the hills. So they are crazy attracted to one another, but she has a son to consider, so she can just let any man walk into her life. But she also receives a lot of help from her family, so she's not really alone. But she has been feeling really alone lately, because she really wants to try and find a partner so she can share her life with. So when she meets Hunter, she's like, wow, he's like super hot, and I'm crazy attracted to him. And it's been like so long since that happened with me, but I really need to be careful, because the last guy, it was crazy, but I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, because all the stuff that happened to her happened in book 1. So, and anyway, this book, 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was really good. Definitely check it out. To have a recommendation from one of my good friends between the books, and I will have her Instagram down below if you want to check it out. And that book is Monsters and Monsters, book 1 in the Fitness Center, I believe, series by Ashley Bennett. And this one was pure smart book. I want to give you that, but it's also a really good romance story, and it was also my first monster romance book. So in this book we follow this girl who owns a bakery, so to speak. She bakes cupcakes and cakes and all that stuff, and she had this job where she goes to deliver a cake in this wedding of a monster and a human, I believe. So that's where she meets this super hot werewolf, and I mean werewolf, not human that can transform into a wolf. Werewolf all the time, wolf all the time. So yeah, it was kind of really weird to read about, but the story was so good. And some stuff I didn't really understand, because I'm not really into monster romance. It was my first, like I said before, but I really loved it. the story was so cute and fun, and they are perfect for one another. And I love how we get to see this side, because I haven't read it in any of the books where she like talks to her friends. It's like, I met this guy, he's so hot, and I just don't know what to do, and they talk, and they basically DM one another, and we see their reactions and how nerve-wracking it is to wait for one another's message. And I love those things because they were amazing. And at the end, I loved how everything wrapped up, but it did felt a little bit rushed, like insta love in the end. I mean, they were like dating for a few months and everything was great, and then one night happens and they act like they have been married for 50 years. That was like so weird for me. But anyway, I gave this book 4.75 out of 5 stars, and you should definitely check it out. We have the Kendall Palace book number 6 on the Jameson Valley series by Devney, and this is the last book in the series, and I can't tell you how heartbroken I am about this. I am not ready to say goodbye to all these incredible characters, but it's time, and I will always be able to go back and read them. But in this book we follow Milo and Sara, and we both know we know about little about them from glimpses of them in the previous books, but we know that they are the cutest couple ever. They are perfect for one another, and they have the most romantic story ever. That's all we know about them. But basically, Milo, we meet in book 1. He is Jesse's partner, the love interest for book 1 in the police, and he's involved in an explosion which happens in book 1, and he has severe burns all over his body, so they transfer him into a hospital in the burn unit. That's where Sara works, and that's where they meet. And as soon as they stand to one another's side, it's like insta love, and it was in perfection. Because I mean, even though they have an attraction for one another, they knew they couldn't really act on it because it's patient nurse situation, so that really can't work because she will lose her job. But the more time she spends with Milo, the more she realizes that she really doesn't care about her job. She really only wants him, and he just lives in Montana, so they don't know how this will work. But he drops some hints on her, like, are you happy here? Do you like a job? Will you ever go to a different city or like something like that? But she's like open to it and everything because she has a terrible relationship with her family, and her job she really likes it, but she's feeling really uncomfortable with one of the doctors there, her boss. He's like super handsy and super full on. He's hitting on her really bad, but she's not really into it. So yeah. So when something happens to her, she decides, I'm quitting, that's it. And then she and Milo decide, I know this is a lot right now and probably too soon, but do you want to come live in Montana with me? Because I'm so in with this relationship. So that's where they live basically, and then that's it. We both, because we know how the story continues, because we know they have kids and they get married and they live together and all that. We find all that in the previous books. So this was like a glimpse into their life and how they met. So I absolutely love this story, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Definitely read the Jameson Valley series. It's incredible. You won't regret it. Trust. I'm quite excited for this book because I finally picked up The Chase, book number 1 in Briar Youth series by Elle Kennedy. I many of you know I'm a huge fan of the Off-Campus series, Logan Supremacy on this channel, but I gave this book 4 stars. It wasn't my favorite, but I really loved Fitz and Summer relationship. You couldn't really see how a gamer introvert character would go with super extrovert, super sunshine and loud character would go, because Summer is Dean Durant's sister, so she's like crazy rich, but and she also enjoys partying, and she's like super confident, super loud character. And then we have Fitz. He's a hockey player, but he's not like the other characters that we meet who wants to go pro with that. He's really a gamer and a nerd basically, and he wants to work at a game development company in the future. So he's just a joke that really enjoys the sport for now. He doesn't have any plans to do with anything. But yeah, he and Summer have been sort of flirting for like a year, but then she hears Fitz saying some stuff in a conversation with Garrett, and Garrett is Garrett from of Kansas series, but she really gets heartbroken, and then she decides screw him, and then she decides what the hell, I'm gonna kiss Hunter because it's New Year's and he really wanted that too. So yeah, fast forward a few months later, she had a few problems with her college dorm, so she needs to live with Fitz, Hollis, and Hunter. These are 3 hockey players, and Dean asked them a favor so that she can live with them for a while. And yeah, so stuff has been awkward. She and Fitz really haven't been talking very much. She's like avoiding him. But she and Hunter have this sort of understanding. They are flirting, but they are not together. But Hunter really likes her, but she's just always had a thing for Fitz, so she's not sure what to do. Hollis is just a character from another dimension where he's like so hilarious, and I'm hoping I can to see his character more in future books. So yeah, I really love this book. It was fun, and I really need all the laughs that it made me have, and it was so. Next we have The Risk. This is book 2 in the Briar series, and we follow Brenna and Jake in this one, and this is my favorite so far in the series, and I'm not sure if any book can top it because I loved it. So in this one, we meet Jake and Brenna in previous books, and we know that they are rivals because Jake plays for Harvard and Brenna is coach's daughter for Briar. So they have like a rival, enemies to lovers sort of situation. But when Brenna goes to need a job interview and she gets treated super bad because she's a woman. She drops Jake's name because he's like a huge hockey player around these parts to get her boss's attention. So she's like he's my boyfriend. So I wasn't sure to mention this, but that's when they start to talk about the interview. But then she needs to ask Jake to go with her to this sort of party. So Jake agrees, but he wants, every time they go on a fake date, he wants a real one because he wants to act on this attraction that they have, because he's like crazy attracted to Brenna. He's like, she's perfect for me, but nothing tops hockey for me. Is my top priority. I need to succeed because I put a lot of work into it. He's basically super selfish about hockey. But yeah, they get together and they end up having feelings for one another, but Jake gets scared and breaks it off, and that's a lot of stuff happens, but at the end, happy ending, I promise. But I really love this one. It was super fun. Jake is just hilarious and super sexy and confident, and I love reading about that. He really reminded me of John Logan from The Mistake, book number 2 on the Off Capon series, and I love that because, as I said, Logan is my favorite character. So definitely read the Briar series. For the books that I read in the month of June, so let's just jump into all the manga that I've read because we have quite a lot of them. So I read Demon Slayer volumes 1 until 11. So basically I read all the anime. I stopped reading at when I finished the entertainment arc, and all these mangas I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I loved them. It was so much fun reading it from the manga and not just watching the anime. Also, as I was reading them, I reached the manga train arc, and I just wasn't ready for it because I just started reading and then continued reading with the volume that I was on, and just then Rengoku appears and I'm like, shit, I've reached this, I'm not ready for this heartbreak again. But because I like to torture myself, I continue reading, and then I was sobbing again. But I loved it, and I'm so happy that I have watched the anime first, because the battle sequences are a different kind of level on the anime than the manga, because they can't really move on the manga, so you can only get so far. But I could easily follow the action sequences, and I was so happy for that, because I really wasn't sure if I was able to keep up with it. But yeah, I can't wait to continue reading Demon Slayer, but I will probably do it because I can't wait until fall to continue with the next season. I will probably just read it because I think there are like 12 volumes left on my list, and then I'm complete. I have completed Demon Slayer, so I might just do that and just then watch season 3, because it's not like I'm going to want to watch it. So yeah, next I read Chainsaw Man by volume 1. I'm not sure who wrote it, but still. And I am super excited for the anime, so I keep seeing it around, so I was like, let's try it, and if I love it, I have 10 more volumes until the anime comes out, and then I will be like super fan. So I love this one, 5 out of 5 stars. It was super gruesome, that stuff that I love. I was crying, and I didn't really expect that I would be crying in volume 1 with the guy's relationship with his dog, and how the dog is like a demon sort of thing, and because the guy was dying, he basically possessed him and gave him his life, and everything. He was like, live your life happily and complete all your dreams, so I can watch them and be happy for you and for me, because I never got to experience any of that. So yeah, he has now this sort of weird power. He becomes half chainsaw, but when he does that, he experiences really bad blood loss, so it is really painful. So he tries to do the job of hunting demons without really using it, but then he got the eye of this agency where they like, come work with us or die. So that's what it really reminded me of Jujutsu Kaisen, because that's basically what they did with Tatori. But yeah, I love this one, and I can't wait to continue with this manga series because it sounds really fun. Next we have Therapy Game Volume 1, and this book 5 out of 5 stars, and I was so not expecting this level of graphic content in this one. I knew that this was more adult content that I'm used to. It's also a BL manga, so I was really excited because I saw many people talk about it on Instagram. So I was like, let's try it. It seems like a good story, and it felt like so wrong reading like some of my cats with it, because there were so many graphic scenes, but can sidetrack it. I love the romance between the two characters. I love Suzuki-kun more because he's like super sweet, and the red hair is just amazing. In case you haven't noticed, but yeah, so I really loved it. But basically they have this one night stand after Suzuki breaks up with his girlfriend. He's super straight, but he has a one night stand with this other guy, but he doesn't remember anything. He blacked out, and when he wakes up next to him, he's totally blacked out. He's like punches the guy, and he's like, what the hell are we doing here? What have we done? That's so not me. And the other guy is like super hurt and annoyed. So he decides to get back at him, so she wants to make him fall in love with him and then totally destroy him. So they basically start flirting one another, but they start to catch feeling for one another, but then the betrayal happens, and that's for volume 1. It stops right there. There is a huge cliffhanger, so you better have volume 2 ready to read because you need it to survive. The final manga that I read was Therapy Game Volume 2, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. In this one, we continue just as we left off in the previous volume, and the betrayal just happened, and Silvio can't believe that this happened to him again, that someone he cared about betrayed him, and he feels like there's something wrong with him. He's super heartbroken. He barely has any focus at work. He doesn't eat. He's like in the worst possible state. But so is the other guy, because he really does have feelings for another, and he feels really guilty about not telling him. But he also has a lot of family and childhood trauma, so he doesn't really let anyone near him emotionally. So stuff happens, and then Sojiki decides he needs to go find him because he really does love him, and he wants to listen to his side of things. So basically, a lot of stuff happens, and they get together at the end, and it's amazing. And yeah, also there is a spin-off continuation series called Therapy Game Restart, and I will definitely be reading that because you have like an update of how they are when they are living together and how they are when they are a few years later. So I'm really excited to read it. Also, we'll be reading the first series as well because this is a spin-off series. So wish me luck because I'm so in for this series. So yeah, that's it for my joint TPR. I know it wasn't long because I really want to talk about each and every volume about Demon Slayer, but many of you know that it's amazing, so I really didn't see the point. So thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and stick around for more. Also, I would really appreciate if you could check out my links will be down below, and I will see you for my next video very soon. Bye!